I've been with him where I go into a store and people look at him or treat him poorly, or won't even, like when he was bit, won't even let him come in. And I went back to that convenience store and shared how I felt about that situation, because whenever I'm there and I say, hey, bub, what do you want to eat? What do you want to drink? Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, he's with somebody that's clean or presentable or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I can almost guarantee that my brother has one of the biggest hearts that you will ever meet in your life.
He does. He's all heart.
He is all heart. And he would not ever hurt anybody. And so to see other people reject him just constantly, or judge him for how he looks, or maybe smells or whatever, it's heartbreaking. And I can't imagine having to go through that every day, and to feel that judgment and rejection. And I don't know if maybe he is just too crazy to know what other people are thinking. I don't know. But for me, that would be difficult.
Well, you said he's seen and experienced things you can't imagine, and if he were in his quote-unquote normal, whatever normal is, his normal mind, he couldn't handle it. But because, in my view, he's been sent in to bless people, the mental illness actually helps that. Mm-hmm. And I know that's very making lemonade out of lemons, but I truly believe it. I see the blessings that happen. Usually intuition reaches children, mentally ill, and the mental retardation, or animals. They're all much more tuned into the intuition than we adults and sound, quote unquote, sound mind are.
Mm-hmm. And this is just one example I can remember. I was probably, I don't even know how old I was. I'm going to guess 10. Okay, so around there. I was young. And so my brother obviously hangs out with other mentally ill or homeless or
Sure.
different things. And at that time, I know he was self-medicating with pot, and maybe other things, I don't know. And it was, I don't know, probably midnight or so, and we were asleep, and it was just me and my mom in the house. And my mom opens the door thinking it's my brother because somebody's banging on our front door. Well, she can't see without her glasses, bless her heart. And so whenever she opened the front door to let my brother in, she realized it wasn't him. And so she pushed him out. Well, as soon as she pushed him out, she started screaming for me to come help. And so I wake up, run in there, help. And then he just keeps saying, I've been paid to take care of you. And he wanted to get in the house. And so I'm crawling on the floor, going window to window, making sure it's locked, running through the back door, trying to get it locked. And we are scared to death because all we know is this man is in our house, and he says that he's been paid to take care of us. Well, what does that mean? And so it was hours of him banging on the windows and the doors and trying to get in and being on the roof, and we would call the cops, and then he would disappear and then come back and all of that. Well, come to find out, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, our dad that adopted us, he found Bub, and come to find out, Bub was talking to this other guy and saying that my mom was single, and so he was trying to get a hookup. Well, we're thinking the poor guy's going to try to kill us, and so it just...
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out the way I think either one of them had thought or anticipated. So that's that was difficult. And with schizophrenia, I know usually, well, I shouldn't say I know, with my brother, what I've read and learned about it was that growing up, he was more, he has ADD or this or that or self-medicated, or it wasn't he was in and out of mental hospitals, but it's like he can kind of hold it together when he doesn't feel safe or around certain people.
Yeah.
He can kind of hold it together enough to make that person feel like he's okay. And then the people that he's closest to, that's when he really starts talking.
So when he's relaxed.
When he's relaxed, or when he knows it's safe to talk. Now he's older and it's progressed. That's not necessarily the case. I don't know that he can hold it together as good anymore. But back then, that's what it was. And I was 13, and Roy, the guy who adopted me and my brother and my sister, he dropped my brother off. Well, over the weekend, he said he was going to be back Easter Sunday, and he never showed up. And then we got a call on Monday saying he had died from drinking and driving Easter Sunday. And I remember I could hear my brother just screaming and crying at night. Not necessarily screaming, but just the crying. And it broke my heart. And ever since then, it was like that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. And he...
you mean he really went down after that?
He really went down. He did.
How old was he, Kari? You know?
Oh, man, if I was... I'd have to do the math, but if I was 12, I'm guessing he was probably 22 or something like that.
Because often, a majority of the time, it doesn't really show up. I've seen it as early as 16, rarely earlier, but the thing is that often it's misdiagnosed, or it shows up as ADHD or even possibly mania, but the hallucinations often will really start rearing their head at 18 to 27, 28.
It was about that same time, because we lived in the same townhouse, and I came home, and I can't even imagine. I mean, I can because I lived it, but I can't imagine being the mother. But I would come home, and everything in the house would be broken. Broom sticking out of the wall, TV broken into pieces, everything, because... you know, the voices or the TV was talking to them, or, you know, things of that, and we would clean up, and, you know, you couldn't ever buy anything, and as soon as my mom did buy something nice for herself, it would get ruined because it would get broken. But one time we were in that same townhouse, and he kept telling me that he owned a part of Dillard's or JCPenney's or something, and that somebody was coming to give him $1 million. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm pretty sure you're crazy, but just in case you're not, I'm going to sit outside with you, because I am not missing out on this $1 million.
So you were sad and depressed for a different reason. So
I just sat outside with him, waiting for $1 million to come. It never did, bless his heart. But sometimes
he believed.
I think you almost question your own sanity, because talking to him, I know for that instance, that's obviously,
but his genuine and his belief in it makes you want to believe it for him.
And a lot of things that he reads, like he will get, a lot of it is religion or mafia, or of course things out to get you, like, you know, somebody killed our dad, or, you know, different things of that nature.
Almost always religion is a part of the picture.
That's a big thing. Religion is a big thing, but he'll also get it and start reading and digging so deep that you almost question your own reality or your own sanity. You're like, he is so smart that it's beyond us.
I believe that. In fact, there's been an argument made by several that the mental illness is actually not mental illness, but it's a higher level of functioning that we cannot relate to, and the mind can't handle it. Mm-hmm. I know my brother is lightning intelligent. My dad, oh my goodness, lightning intelligent. So it makes me wonder if that doesn't go hand in hand in a lot of the cases. I
really do believe that there's a fine line between insanity and genius, because I've seen it with him, and I make light of this situation, or yesterday, bless his heart, we pick him up, and he's having a pretty rough day, and my mom's driving, and she handles it differently than I do. Again, everybody handles it differently. And so he starts talking about these guys that have radioactive logs up their asses that are the size of Campbell's soup cans.
Oh, Lord.
And I said, they do? My Lord, that's a bad day. And so my mom was like, Kari, stop antagonizing him. And I'm like, I'm not.
It doesn't make it worse.
No, because for years, you know, we talk about these stages that you go through, and I'm like, Bub, there is nobody out there, or there's nobody talking to you. Or
that doesn't help him feel better.
And it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And so now, if we're talking about radioactive logs up asses, that's what we're going to talk about.
And you're just reflecting what he's saying now. If you're going, oh, I see them, that's antagonism. Podcast land, I'm not recommending that in any sense of the word.
No, I just say, man, that's bad, Bub. I'm so sorry, you know. And again, he said that it was in Revelations. The guys just didn't see it. And so, but his heart, this is another example of the heart. This guy came up, we went to Lowe's, and he was selling bread or wanted money for muffins or something, and we didn't have any cash. And so he gave us a pamphlet, and he's like, if you happen to know anybody who suffers with addiction, homelessness, mental illness, and we're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, this is an awkward situation. And so, so we get the pamphlet and we talk, and my mom has talked to my brother about, like homeless, what is it? I guess group homes or, you know, to help, you know, see if maybe he would like it there so he can get off the streets. And he's like, oh, no, Mom. Those are for people who are really mentally ill. Really. Those are the people who really need it. I don't really need it.
And see, I love that he sees himself like that.
Yeah. He doesn't.
I think the duress is when they start to see glimpses of how abnormal they can be. I think that's the hard part, which luckily a lot of them do not, because they're in that place, you know. My brother struggles with guilt like you would not believe. Like, that is his prime emotion, is guilt, shame. It's more shame. And, you know, there have been a multitude of situations. You know, our mutual friend, Lori, has, you know, I used to work at Fort Sill every week, or all week long. And I'd come home on the weekends. And I can't tell you how many times I would leave on a Sunday to go back to work for the week. And she'd call and go, okay, see, what happened was, and I'm like, no. And he's fallen down her stairs. She couldn't get him out of her house. I mean, broken arms. I've come home to a destroyed house. Long story with that, why he was in my house. I mean, there's been so much, but the problem is, because of his intelligence, he doesn't forget any of that. And really, until I'm talking about it, I have, because I understand the reasoning for it. I understand, and not to say that, and we can talk some about this too, that I have to set the boundaries with him. I have to allow the consequences. I made a final call that I knew was going to land him in jail for a long, long time because of some of the behaviors and stuff in my yard. And to me, that was the tough love. I had to set the boundaries and allow the process, because honestly, his safety is inside. If he's out, he will eventually kill himself with the behavior that he does that hurts him, through alcohol use, through drug, through I don't know. There's so many things he does that hurts him when he's in mania.
Self-destructive behavior.
Yes. And so if I want to have my brother alive, it has to be in.
Well, and I guess I'm fortunate that I don't know that that's the same with my brother. I'm sure he self-medicates.
But the way to have your brother is to be out.
Yes. Now, he does need to be out. I think even him being in a house, it's more like feeling like being in a cage.
He feels entrapped. I can feel it when you speak about it.
And he just prefers having his own, having his own schedule and doing his own thing. But whenever he came and stayed with us this last year, the stories that he would say and the things that he would do would almost shock me. Like, we would get ready for dinner, and he would have a hat on, and he would come, and he would take his hat off and try to, get all good looking with his hair. And I thought, that is crazy to me, because here it is, my husband's at the table,